Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I'm glad to have everyone join us this morning. Please reach out to your friends, families, those you know that would benefit strongly from this session today. Please have them join us. We're just about to start. I see everyone. I see Comfort, David, Essay, Obaro, Roman, Tunji. Thank you, guys. You're welcome. You're welcome. Please join in. Please join in. I can't wait to have you join us. I can't wait to have you join us. We will start in just a short time. We want more people to join in so that they can enjoy the session, all right, and benefit from the session. Our presenter is here and she is ready, okay? All right, please join in, please join in. We'll start in just a few minutes. Guys, thank you for joining. I see you all. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. No African time here, okay? But we want more people to benefit from this session. And so I'll give us 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Share the link with others, have people join us, and then we will start in just 2 minutes, okay? I want us to finish at exactly 11 o'clock, all right? All right, all right, all right. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning once again. My name is Michelle Oyemade, and I'll be your host for today's session, for today's webinar. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are so glad to have you join us. You joined in January, and now you're joining again in February. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to have everyone join us today. All right, we're just about to start. Our topic for today: from cash trapped to cash smart. Financing strategies every SME must know. I'm sure you must have been thinking, why this topic? What was on their mind? Um, why did they think about this? Right? And so for us, what we try to do is we looked at the pain points, of SMEs, especially in Nigeria. You know that we are in Nigeria and we are concerned about the SMEs in Nigeria, right? And so we thought, what are the things that that concern you? Because we are really all about you guys, right? Not about us, not about what we deliver, but all about you guys. And that's the reason why we have this topic this morning, from cash trapped to cash smart. All right, it's 10:10 and our presenter has been waiting. All right, she joined in very early as usual, which is her usual style. All right, and so I'll just do a quick introduction of Kende Olomojobi. She is a highly accomplished treasury expert, governance leader, and financial services executive with over 27 years of leadership across Nigeria's banking, microfinance, and investment ecosystem. Guys, she is the real deal. She has helped institutions strengthen financial stability, optimize liquidity, and transform treasury functions into strategic drivers of growth and profitability. Guys, she understands totally what it takes to build financially resilient and sustainable businesses in today's complex economy. If you would agree with me, our economy is complex. There are many things we do not understand. There are many things that we see that we try to understand, but we don't understand. And one of those things is funding for our businesses. So today, I'd like us to join her as she unlocks 27 plus years of financial leadership insights that would, guys, empower you, that would encourage you to make smarter financial decisions and grow your business with confidence. So, guys, with a virtual round of applause, virtual, by the way, I'd like us to welcome Kende to our midst. Kende, thank you so much for joining us today. We are very grateful and we do not take this for granted. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Kende, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for that warm welcome. And what a wonderful way to spend our Saturday morning, laying about what keeps us, all of us, going. Money is the soul of business. Cash is king. Money drives the wheel of the economy. So it's not a mistake that you're here this morning, to learn. And for me also, it's going to be a learning experience. I'm going to be speaking to you from my journey. Just like Michelle had said, my name is Kendi Olomojobi, fondly called KWO. She has said so many things about my professional experience, but I want to speak to you straight from my heart this morning, letting you know I'm not speaking to you as a 9 to 5er. I'm not speaking to you as head of treasury, Renmoney. I want to speak to you as someone who has been on the same journey with you as an SME. About 15, 16 years ago, about 17, 18 years ago, I had 2 children under 2. I was on maternity leave back to back. I had 3 children within 4 years. So you can imagine how many times I had to go on maternity leave. And for one of them, I even had to take an extended vacation just to be able to recuperate and get back to my treasury business. And what did I do during the time I was on maternity leave, taking care of those children under 2 years old within the limited time I had? I looked at how do I engage myself? What do I do? So I started what you would call a hair salon and also a home style family run bakery. What do I call a home style family run bakery? You can also call it a hot bread shop. So within the estate I was living, I had 2 businesses at that time. The hair salon, to meet up with the needs of female bankers and corporate ladies who had children and didn't want to take them to busy salons where the focus was on the adults. And so I had something that the children could come to, a very good ambience, cartoons, posters here and there for the children, especially young girls, to come make their hair. For me, it was a fantastic business idea on paper. I also had the family run a home style hot bread shop where, as you're coming into the estate after work, after long hours at work, you could store and pick up a pack of sliced bread, burger buns and stuff like that, and even some confectionery snacks. They were both two good businesses that on paper should run and should never fold up. Why? Food was something everybody needed to have. So bread, everybody would buy bread in Nigeria. And also fashion, a hair salon that also sold hair accessories. But permit me to say to you today, those businesses failed woefully. And I'll ask myself over time, why did those businesses fail? Going back after maternity leave, back into my 9 to 5, and the journey so far for 27 years, I've asked myself that question, and I've also learned from that experience. Those are the kind of things I'm going to bring into your table this morning, this Saturday morning. It's not all about theory. It's about practical experiences, because I've walked this journey of running an SME, of running an owner-managed business. So I feel the pain. I feel the pinch. I understand what the SMEs are going through. I understand what owner-managed businesses are going through. And please don't ever call yourself, a one-man business. Begin today to reintroduce yourself as an SME owner. My name is Kendi Olomojobi. I run an owner-managed business. That is how I want everyone running an SME to introduce themselves. Don't say I run a one-man business, because really, one man in various parts. I was the HR, I was the accountant, I was the procurement manager, I was everything to those two businesses. And what would I have done better? I'll bring that to the table as we unfold what we have for you this morning. Once again, my name is Kendi Olomojobi. I've been in the Treasury space about 27 years, running treasuries of institutions and now Renmoney. And I want to also let you know that what we do from boardroom to the treasury, from treasury to the boardroom, in terms of strategies, liquidity management, cash flow management, risk management, is the same thing that the SME is also going through and also executing. So there is a synergy there. There's a place where we all meet, either from the corporate side or from the SME side. There are common grounds. That's a bit of my journey. Let's dive into this conversation more deeply. Like I said earlier on, you running an owner-managed business or an SME, you are the ones that are holding the Nigerian economy. SMEs are the engine of the Nigerian economy. And I want you to go into the chat room and tell yourself, I'm doing something good running an SME. Because the SMEs are the ones that we can call the engine room. Like you have the mitochondria being called the powerhouse of the living cell, I would say that the SMEs are the mitochondria of Nigeria. You are the engine room of this country. Nigeria is home to over 41.5 million micro, small, and medium enterprises. And so it makes this particular sector the backbone, the mitochondria, the powerhouse, the engine. However, despite the importance that Nigerian SMEs have to the economy, access to smart and sustainable financing is really a major limitation. The two businesses that I ran, I started them with my own personal savings, that of my husband and myself, and a few family members that also chipped in their own pennies here and there. And so scalability was also a major problem. And that's what we're saying this morning. Access to smart and sustainable financing is a major limitation for SMEs in Nigeria. I would say, as KWO, that when SMEs sneeze, Nigeria will catch cold. And that's how powerful we are. SMEs drive up to 98% of the employment in the economy. We contribute as SMEs 50% to the GDP of our great country, Nigeria. And so the SMEs are very, very important to the Nigerian economy. Having said that, as you're sitting there, wherever you're sitting, I want you to adjust your seats and feel very important this morning. As a Nigerian SME, you are valuable, you are important to us and to the Nigerian economy. You keep us alive. And for me, that is something to be proud of. Going further into the conversation, because I'm a woman, I had to just also find out what are the women's contributions to Nigerian businesses. Women own 40% of Nigerian businesses, Nigerian SMEs. SMEs have a strong presence around trade, agriculture, manufacturing, technology. SMEs contribute hugely. And so SMEs are also critical to inclusive growth and also reducing poverty in Nigeria. And so when you have an institution supporting SMEs, that institution is well positioned and also critical to driving the whole SME journey. The financing gap is massive. I have to put this here to let you know that the SME is on one side and access to financing is on the other side. And you have that wide gap. Many valuable businesses cannot access funding, and I'll tell you why. Not because they're not profitable, but I've learned over time and running that family style the bakery and that hair salon, that structure is very important. Before you begin to think of, I need 10 million, I need 50 million, you first of all need to think structure. And so I put there food for thought. How structured is your business? Looking back, I would say that those two structures were not well, those two businesses were not well structured. And I would say that if I'm going to start those businesses again, there are things I would do differently. Regulatory compliance, tax registration, structuring the accounts, separating my own money from the company's money, a lot of things that we have to do. So the question I want you to ask yourself this morning is, how structured is your business? Someone sat with me about 3 months ago talking about a business idea. And I told the person, ideas precede capital. The ideas you have can be so valuable, you may not even need capital. And I'll tell you why. What you may need may just be people. What you may need may not be cash. What you may need may also be structure. We're coming there. I'm going to be unfolding this as an onion. You know, when you cut an onion, it has different layers. So the financing gap we're admitting this morning is very massive, estimated to be tens of billions of dollars. You can imagine what that is in Nigeria. Part of the big challenge also could be affordable financing. So the financing that is available, but not very affordable. Bringing it closer home, poor cash flow management could also be part of the challenges that SMEs face. And so when you bring your request to the financier or the organization to say, I need 50 million, I need 100 million, the first thing they would look at is your cash flow. Cash flow basically speaks to the fact that there is in and out. There's cash coming in, there's cash going out. This is a living entity. This is an organization or a business that has life. Again, informal structures could limit your access to capital. So how structured is your organization? But I must say that many profitable businesses, they're out there, very viable, good cash flow. They still remain cash constrained, part of the big challenge we're going to be talking about. Now, why do we have this conversation? Why do we think this conversation matters? Like I had said earlier on, and I'll repeat it again, we drive innovation as SMEs, we drive job creation, we also drive inclusive growth as SMEs. And that's why this conversation we're having this morning becomes very meaningful. Additionally, I'd mentioned the wide gap between access to financing and what the SMEs want to do. You've also mentioned that smart financing strategies can change the landscape of SMEs from surviving to actually become thriving and value contributing entities to the Nigerian economy. Today's conversation is also very important because cash flow timing is key. And we found out that cash flow timing, which is basically when your receivables are coming in and when your obligations and what you have to pay is due, is a major struggle for many SMEs. So opportunities will come, but the financing structure within your business, our businesses, is not ready for the financing. Permit me to say that smart businesses don't just work hard. Smart businesses learn how to become cash smart. And by the end of this conversation, I can confirm to you that you would have picked up one or two tips on not just how to work hard, but how to be cash smart in running your businesses. The first thing I tried to do was to look at the traditional SME funding sources. These are sources that we're all used to, that are fingertips. Many SMEs online this morning may also have been able to tap into these funding sources. For me, running those two other businesses, personal savings came number one. I had to dip my hand into the savings I had saved over time, working in a financial institution, my savings over time, my bonuses and stuff like that, and even being able to access some HR loans, to start that business. For the business to scale, I need to reach out to friends and family. They're called the 3Fs. And this kind of money is called soft money. It comes from an emotional point of view, an emotional perspective. Oh, I want to help you. Oh, I want to support you. It's called soft money. And after your personal savings, this next level of funding comes to play. But I remember then that many people asked me some questions in the form of my own skin in the game as an SME, as an aspiring business owner, as an aspiring entrepreneur. Everyone who will contribute to your business would ask you, what have you brought to the table? That's your own skin in the game. You must be able to show them that you've also taken a chance on yourself. And I remember then a particular family member asking me, Kendi, how much have you put into this business? This is your bakery. What have you put into it? And I had to tell her, join me on Saturday morning. I'll take you to the store. And when she saw the inventory, she saw the bags of flour, bags of shortening, sugar and everything, and saw the two big bakers, and the oven. I remember my first oven with so much nostalgia right now. She had to put some money down to support me. And those kind of monies, they don't ask for it. They don't ask you for a refund. You just want to be part of something good. So my question this morning, what skin do you have in the game? What have you brought to the table, as an aspiring business owner or even an entrepreneur? The next level will be cooperatives and what you call the SUSU or the AJO. How I would explain it this way. I'm also a finance coach, a certified finance coach, and we usually say that your net worth, how rich you are, is a function of your network. The people in your corner, the people in your circle, the people you affiliate with. That's where the cooperative comes into play. The cooperative can take different structures, and usually, as an entrepreneur, I would encourage you to belong to a union, belong to a cooperative, belong to a society. I have different societies and unions and groups I belong to, both on the professional side, the religious side, and even just the social side, because those people come in very handy when you're trying to raise capital, and has proven to be a very, very, a veritable and sure funding source for businesses. So your market union, professional organizations, I belong to APWB, and that's the Professional Women Bankers, the female arm of CIBN. I'm the treasurer, and we have a cooperative society. So as a female banker in Nigeria, when you belong to the CIBN or the APWB, you have access to the cooperative. That's a professional body, also helping women, raise capital for businesses, either as current bankers or ex-bankers or even retired bankers. That's what I'm talking about. So what societies do you belong in? What cooperatives do you belong in? They could also be part of traditional funding sources for you, either as an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur. The next one, which is trade credit, and I enjoyed that so much when I was running that hot bread shop. So we had A Honeywell supplier just down the road, I would go there every Saturday morning and pick 10 bags of flour, pick shortening, and every other thing I needed to produce my loaves of bread for the week. I didn't have to pay a dime. Every Saturday morning, I go there, I pay for what I've taken the previous week, and I'm giving new supplies. That's supplier credit. And I can assure you, it helped run that business and even scale it up a bit when my own capital was limited. So if you're an entrepreneur here, this is a traditional funding source. You don't need cash for it. What you need is goodwill. Goodwill. And goodwill is something that you build over time. So the first time I was given that supplier credit, I made sure I paid back as when due. No excuses. And that builds credibility, it builds goodwill. So another food for thought. How well are you building goodwill? How well are you building your network that would invariably impact your network? Food for thought. I decided also to look at how do we now look at an SME smart funding model, where having looked at the different kind of traditional funding structures, what else can we do? Warren Buffett said, if your salary is your only source of income, you are just one step away from poverty. That's what Warren Buffett said. And really, it holds true. We have 8 streams of income when it comes to personal finance. And science and data have proven that the average millionaire has 5 streams of income. The 8 streams of income are multidimensional. We have dividend income, we have capital gains income, we have profit income, we have royalty income, so 8 streams of income. The same thing as a business owner. You cannot sit down with only one source of funding. You must be able to build a funding stack. And this is what a funding stack looks like. You have your internal cash, which are the first 2 levels of traditional funding. That's your own personal savings, and then the 3 F's, family and friends. That's the internal cash. And usually it's your money. You may not want to attach a cost to it, and you can't even attach a cost to it, but most of the time, family and friends give you based on emotions. That internal cash is the bedrock of the funding stack. It also shows your own skin in the game. The next one I'm going to point to here is the supplier's credits. I've given you an example of how I enjoyed supplier's credits when I was running my own business, where you don't have to have cash, but you're building up goodwill. And because of that, you're able to attract supplier's credits. The next one will be short-term credit. And these are revolving loans that you clean up, you take them, you clean up, you take them and you clean up. So you have your internal cash, you have your supplier's credit, you have your short-term credits. Permit me to say, just like Warren Buffett said, and I'd also explained to you the 8 streams of income, you may not start with all the 5 in your funding stack. But the whole idea is that as you're building your SME, as you're growing your SME, you're structuring your SME, you're putting structure, you're putting everything in the right place, you will be able to attract other kinds of funding. So internal cash, minimal structure, suppliers credit, building up on goodwill, and existing minimal structure. When it comes to short-term credit, investor capital, and even partnerships, you have to have structure. So the question this morning I'm going to ask, and you can go into the chat room and drop a word or 2 there. Which of these funding structures, or which of these funding sources are you ready for? Remember, I said there are viable businesses in Nigeria. There are thriving businesses. My hot bread shop, my family style bakery, and the hair salon had business models that should actually scale. I should even be in 9 to 5 right now, but it failed because there were things that were not in place. And I would confess that structure was a major limitation. Without structure, you cannot attract other sophisticated kinds of funding. And that's where you come to organizations or funding sources, structured funding sources like Renmoney, for example, and then you're asking for 50 million and you're being given 5 million, and then you get frustrated. I can assure you, the things we look at the back end, we look at cash flow, we look at your structure, and so many other things. And so the question you should begin to ask yourself now is, I need to build a funding stack. That's number one. Starting with my internal cash, starting with goodwill, starting with suppliers credits, and then how am I positioned to attract other funds of other sources of funding, partnerships, investor capital, and even more closer home, short-term credits. But it's important that you tap into what Warren Buffett has said. Don't depend on one stream of income. Don't depend on one stream of funding for your business. Build a funding stack. Hashtag KWO says so. If you may just put that there. So this is the smart SME funding model, and your funding stack depends on the structure that you put into your business. I want to go into the chat room right now and just look at this funding stack and just write it there, which one you currently use in your organization or in your business. Permit me to say that there are different categories of SMEs. Some are more sophisticated than others. But remember, you all are important to the Nigerian economy. You account for 98% of the employment. You account for 50% of the GDP. So please, shoulders up, heads high, go into the chat room and just pick one or two or three or four or five. Which one are you currently using within your business? Successful SMEs don't depend on one source of money. Successful SMEs build a funding stack. So you can also go there and tell us, I will build a funding stack. I will build a funding stack. Just drop it there while we move on to the next slide. Now, there are so many funding sources, that SMEs ignore. The first thing an SME is thinking about is money, cash, cash. That's what an SME is thinking about. And I'll just give you a typical example of how an SME can unlock cash. So you have the MD CEO of an owner-managed business. He drives a Mercedes-Benz AMG, or he drives possibly a G-Wagon, or he drives possibly a Toyota Camry 2019 model, or possibly he drives a BMW. He is an owner, he is running an owner-managed business. Remember, I said, don't tell yourself I run a one-man business. From today, that vocab has been eradicated. You run an owner-managed business, and so you want to look the part. You dress the part, you drive the part with the kind of vehicle you're driving. But permit me to say, your organization, your company lacks cash. You are cash strapped. However, you're dressing well, you're driving a good car, you even have a big office somewhere, trying to show that, yes, I'm running an owner-managed business. Do you know that using a sale and lease back technique, you can unlock cash for your organization, for your business? You can unlock cash and capital to run that business. How does this work? You take that car, you take that asset to a leasing company or to a financing company. You sell it and they lease it back to you and you pay your monthly rentals. You buy it back. So they value the asset, they value your G-Wagon, they value your AMG, they value your Camry. It is worth 50 million, for example. You transfer ownership to them, but custody remains with you. So you can still drive that car to your business meetings. You can still drive that car to wherever you need to go to. The custody is yours, but ownership is that of the financing organization or bank or whatever. They release the cash value of that asset to you to run your business. And within the mutually agreed tenor, you pay back gradually to buy back your asset. Once you buy back your asset, you fully paid back the cash that was released to you on the back of that asset. Remember, they did not ask you to bring that asset to park it somewhere. You are still using that asset. What you've given to them are the things that make them have ownership, the vehicle license, the vehicle particulars. So they have ownership, but you have custody. So your business still runs fine. You still drive your big car, but you've been able to access cash. Many SMEs ignore this. And this is something that you can look at. Another one is the cooperative capital I mentioned. Your network matters when you're running a business. I want you to declutter your life today. Take up your phone and look at your contacts. Do you have contacts who are just there monitoring? They're monitoring spirits, permit me to say. They're monitoring your WhatsApp status, but are not adding value to you. As an SME owner, as an owner managed business owner, you need to begin to drive network of people that will improve your net worth, people that will be strategic in looking at partnership with you to run your business. I found out over time, and people have also called me to come and put some things down, some capital down to drive their business, and it comes from strategic networking. So, what kind of people are around you? You know, people are valuable when it comes to driving capital, and SMEs ignore this. Most of the time, you don't even have to go to a structured financing company to raise capital. The people around you. So today, determine within yourself to build quality friendships, quality networks. So as an SME owner, look out for where you can network, and look for strategic investors that will come to you and tell you, I want to give you 50 million for the next 1 year. What can you return to me? You must understand your numbers, NPR, inflation, understand the returns on investment, understand your numbers very well. Strike a deal with those strategic investors. They give you the money 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Some will say, I'm giving you moratorium, don't pay me interest for the next 2 years. After year two, start paying me interest and a bit of the principal. You can strike different structures with strategic investors. And these investors are very important. Some of them even ask for a role in your business, depending on how sophisticated that conversation is going. Permit me to say that you need a financial advisory. And at Renmoney, we provide that. We help you incubate your ideas. We help you also accelerate those ideas with some of the value that we can bring on board to help you drive those strategic conversations and help you scale your business. I'd mentioned cooperative capital. That has to do with unions and societies that you belong to. Invoice financing is also something that you can look at. Supply chain financing is also what you can look at, and revenue-based financing. What are we looking at here? Revenue-based financing. You struck a deal with a financier, and you're saying you will be paying back or financing that loan based on the revenue you're making. At times, this could be a form of lease. So it's coming from your cash flow, coming from your revenue, and you're financing that particular loan. I must say that for us on the other side, the financing side, it has become more data-driven than collateral-driven. We're looking at data. We're looking at your cash flow. And that's where structuring comes into play. Your business must be structured in a way that when I sift out the data, I'm seeing something I can put my money into. And when I say my, I mean the organization, for example, Renmoney. We're looking at data rather than collateral because numbers don't lie. And data actually shows everything going on behind the scenes in your organization. I also came up with 5 pillars that I believe can help everybody, especially the SMEs here, the owner managers. Please adjust yourselves again and make yourselves feel important this morning. Strategy is number 1. It is the roof that covers your business. Strategy, which means you are matching the right funding to the right need. There are no mismatches. If it's a short-term financing that you need, you're not asking for a term loan. You're asking for something to finance that short-term liquidity gap, and you're cycling out and getting back into your business. So you must have enough financial savviness to know the right funding for the right need. I remember I left banking for 3 years to join the family business, and it was an asset finance firm. And what were we doing there? We were financing assets. So the shawarma spot on the street, the barbecue joints that need those small equipments to maybe the shawarma machine or whatever, that was what we were financing, as well as diagnostic labs that need small machines to run malaria test and small equipments. What we found out over time was that when those small business approached our company, I was the chief operating officer and ED finance and strategy. What we found out was that many were looking for the wrong funding for the kind of asset they wanted to fund. And so we had to do some financial advisory. You must match the right funding to the right need at every point in time so that your cash flow is working right. You are able to service those obligations, because when you're not able to service them, your credibility becomes questionable. So strategy is the roof that covers your business. If you look at the bottom, it is structure. And structure is the foundation that you need. And the first structure you must put in your business is your financing structure. And that has to do with you separating the business from the personal finance. The two companies I ran, I told you, the hair salon and the family style bakery or hot bread shop, all the monies came into my current account. That's an error number one. There was no separation of the finance of the business. So the business money is different from your own personal money. There must be a place where you step back from dipping your hands into the financing of the business. And so structure speaks basically beyond the other forms of structure, which will be governance structure, the human capital, separation of duties, the financing, the money that is coming in has to be properly structured so that this belongs to the business, this belongs to me, and there is no commingling. People that want to finance you will look at it. And so when we're asking for your bank statement or we're pulling your bank statement from wherever, we're looking at those things you're using the money of the business for. Is it a company account? Is it a private account? Structure around the money flowing in and out of the business matters a lot. And structure is your foundation. So we're building a house. We've built the roof. We have the structure, which is the foundation. And then we have the pillars. Visibility is very important. You must know your numbers, not just monthly basis. If you are the accountant, pick up your ledger, pick up your hardcover notes, pick up your Excel sheet. Know your numbers. Please go into the chat room and type it there. I must know my numbers. I must know my numbers. Your numbers must be visible to you. You must know them on your fingertips. You must know how much of each item was sold at how much. You must know what should come in terms of receivables, what should come in as revenue. Another error, I'm confessing again, was that revenue is not profitability. If you can just help me type it in the chat room again, revenue is not profits. When I was running those two small businesses 17, 18 years ago, revenue was assumed to be profits. It is not. It's part of knowing your numbers and also speaks to visibility. Also, visibility means putting yourself out there. And before you put yourself out there, ensure that what you're putting out there, you can support it. So if you're saying, if you come to my family style bakery, you will get your hot bread straight from the oven within 10 minutes. So the person coming from work on a daily basis, passed by the hot bread shop, knows that at the signal, after payment, within 10 minutes, we have the bread coming out from the oven. Because you must back up whatever you're putting out there. You are attesting to the fact that you're visible and you can walk the talk. So visibility involves your numbers, your credibility, and the promise you're giving to your customers. The next one is liquidity. Cash is king. Cash is the soul of business. You must maintain a cash buffer. Even as an organization, we maintain our cash buffers. We know what our contingent funding buffers are. As a business, as a manager of an owner-managed business, remember, I'm reintroducing you to you. You must maintain a cash buffer. There must be a limit or a level that you must have consistently as cash. And liquidity enables your business open its doors the following day. Remember, I'm not talking about profitability now. I'm talking about liquidity. Very, very important. The next one is access. You must build lender relationships very early in your business. Don't come running to a lender only when you need money. Build relationships with different organizations and different levels of sophistication of lenders. Remember, I said family and friends. Build a strong network, build goodwill within your cooperative, within your relationships, within your societies, and then sophisticated lenders, build relationships. With your suppliers, build relationship. They're a form of lender. Before we come to the people that actually give you the cash, either the banks or the microfinance organizations, you must build lender relationships. How do you build relationships? It comes with goodwill. It comes with integrity, credibility. It comes with visibility. All of these things add up. All of these things add up. Your strategy, your visibility, your liquidity, your access, and more importantly, your structure. I also came up with a cash model. And for us to be able to remember this, just go and type in cash. If you're going to leave this webinar with anything, remember cash. C-A-S-H. I came up with it about 2 days ago, and I said, if anything you're going to leave this webinar with, remember cash. Everybody wants cash. Cash means control, access, separate, have. Control, access, separate, have. One, control your numbers. I talked about numbers earlier on. Access funding early, not when you're at a crunch time. Build those relationships, acquire that goodwill, put in the structure, submit the documentation, and plan access to your funding early enough. The third one is separate, and that's what the S stands for. I keep saying this because the major pitfall for me for those two small businesses. Separate business money from personal money. And the final one, have a funding strategy. Remember the funding stack I mentioned? The funding stack. This is the funding stack. Don't forget the funding stack. Start from the rudimentary one, internal cash, go to your suppliers credit, come to short-term credit, investor capital, and partnerships. You must, like I said, have a funding strategy. Also manage your mismatches or avoid mismatches. Short-term money, short-term financing, long-term money, long-term funding. So cash is king. And this cash model, if anything you're going to take away from here, don't forget cash. Control, access, separate, and have. We're getting to the end, almost to the end of the conversation. I also said, what kind of practical advices can SMEs begin to implement now? One, prepare. Prepare for the funding before you need it, which means think. As you go into your business every day, you open your laptop, think 5 years, think 10 years, think 1 week, think 1 month, think payroll, think funding, think inventory. Prepare for funding before you need it, not when the funding comes quickly. Prepare for it ahead. And preparation, they say, when it meets opportunity, success. Boom, success. So preparation is the first advice I'm going to give this morning. As we leave this webinar, sit back, think, dream of everything you believe your business can scale up to and prepare for it. And as you're thinking, as you're preparing, the next one is think. For every form of lending or funding I'm going to need, who are my partners? Who are the people I would need? Would it be family and friends? Would it be the cooperative? Would it be the short-term lender? Would it be an investor? Would it be a partner? Think of lenders as partners, not emergencies, not people you run to when there's fire on the mountain. When you think of a partner, you're thinking of a journey. And that's why preparation comes first. When you prepare, you think. And the final one there, which will be an advice again, build credibility. If your payment is due, please pay. It helps you build credibility. It helps the lender believe in you. And when the lender believes in you, they see your skin in the game, they're also able to commit more. The best financing comes from relationships built early. The best financing comes from relationships built early. So my question here is, what kind of relationships are you building? What kind of network are you building? What kind of net worth will your network bring you? Food for thought. I would say Nigeria's SME sector, now we're concluding, is one of the most powerful engines of economic growth. But the future belongs to businesses that move from cash strapped to cash strategic. The goal is not to get funding. The goal is not to get money. The goal is to build a business that funding will chase. I remember then, Oceanic Bank, after looking at the hot bread shop, the family style bakery, then for months and about 2 years, they came to us then and offered us a term loan. We didn't take the term loan at that time, but it meant that they had looked at the business and funding was now chasing that business. What am I saying? When your structure is right, money will follow. Most SMEs think the problem is money, but the real issue is financial strategy. Businesses that grow successfully move from searching for funding to becoming fundable. So go into the chat room and say, I will move from searching for funding, I will become fundable. When your structure is right, capital will find you. And that's just a quote from me, KWO. When your structure is right, capital will find you. Finally, as we close, let me leave you with this. In business, revenue will make you visible. Profit will make you successful, but cash gives you power. The power to negotiate, the power to survive, the power to scale. The difference between struggling businesses and scalable businesses is not effort. It is structure. It is discipline. I don't just believe SMEs can scale. I believe that those who master cash can dominate. My name is Ken Yolomojobi, fondly called KWO, and I'm done talking for now. Thank you for your audience.
Guys, please give our presenter a round of applause, first of all. Before we go on, before we say anything, before we ask questions, before we think on these things that she has said to us, please give her a round of applause. Right? I wish I could I could turn on the mic so that everybody could clap. Let me see. Do I want to do that? Do I want to do that? Maybe not. And it will be so noisy. I don't know what to be doing. Right. First of all, Kehinde Olomojobi, I want to say a big thank you. I mean, I will still say thank you later. Right. But I want to say a big thank you. It was such an amazing session. First of all, guys, who thinks that, yes, you will get it. Who thinks that we should have like a part 2? Who thinks we should have a part 2? Guys, raise your hand so that, I want to rope her in now so that, she won't say that Misha is not true. Is it, guys, please raise your hand so she can see all the numbers. Kenny, can you see that we're going on? So Kenny, we're going to have you back, right? So let's get ready for us. You don't have a choice, right? Get ready for us. Right now, we have roped you into this mix. Guys, so it was very insightful. I want to thank you so much, Ma, for these insightful sessions. And there were a few things that I picked, right, that I want to still, still speak to, all right, still reiterate. The clutter your business, first of all, was very important. Check who is not adding value to you. Okay, of course, I wrote things down so that, I'm not a robot. So that I was really listening. Check who is not adding value to you. You need to drive your network to drive your business. Your network is very important, right? If family is not your network, guys, move out of it, please. Please move out of it. Remember, you are not an SME. You are the owner manager. Michelle, I am the owner manager. So when you see me tomorrow, don't say, Michelle, who are you? What SME? No. I am the owner manager. Revenue is not profit. I must know my numbers. I must know my numbers. Guys, it's not enough to just save money, to get money in and money out. It's not enough. You must know your numbers. And if you need to learn to know your numbers, you should. Cash is business. Okay. Build lender relationships. All right. Yeah, do you remember what cash is? Do you remember what cash is? Control, access, separate, have. Once again, control, access, separate, have. And finally, I will move from searching for funding to become fundable. I will become fundable. So I will stop searching. People will meet me, they will see my business, and they will just say, this business, we should invest in this business. And that is very important. So Kehinde, once again, thank you so much. We're bringing you again for part 2. So please get ready, right? I mean, cover your face, cover your eyes. I mean, the people are the voice, right? My voice is too small. The people are the voice. Somebody says, well done, so proud of you. Thanks for representing APWB. That's my Kenny doing what she does best. Kenny, we are proud. People are so proud of you. Thank you for this insightful session. Somebody ask the questions. Guys, if you have any questions, drop it in the Q&A. The chat is open for you. Okay, please drop your questions. I might not be able to turn on the mics because some people might be, in noisy places, some people might be in certain areas. We want to be able to control this for everyone and so that everyone can, benefit from this session. How does this apply to non-profits, please? Yes, Candy, that question is for you. Guys, you know that I said at 11 o'clock, but this is not my fault. Oh. We are the ones asking questions. So you see why we have to have a part 2. Because we don't do African time here at Renmoney, okay? But Kehinde, we'll ask maybe just 2 or 3 questions, and then we'll give everyone the opportunity to send in their questions. We will send you emails to send in your questions so that we can also prepare, for the part 2 of this session. Guys, so you see that it was very insightful. And you have families, friends that want to join in, please have them join. So Kehinde, how does this apply to non-profits, please?
Non-profits. Yes. Thank you very much. We say they're non-profits, but cash still comes in. So part of what we're also talking about, even as a non-profit, you must still organize your affairs to attract the kind of funding that you need. I believe for a non-for-profit, you're humanitarian or you're doing something that has societal impact. So you still have to tidy your books. You still have to know your numbers. So knowing your numbers involves how much did we receive as grants for the month of January? How did we deploy these grants? Also, what kind of grants? Are they long-term grants? So for example, I have short-term grants. I can easily go put together 2 or 3 boreholes. And I can also have short-term grants and go and build a hospital and get stuck halfway into building that hospital. It's about knowing your numbers, knowing the kind of inflows that are coming in and how you can commit those inflows to have sustainable projects. So it's still impact, it's still part of what we're talking about, it's still part of the cash model, part of the funding stack also. This speaks to the different tenors of grants or inflows that you're having into your non-for-profit. So I think it's very practicable, it's applicable to non-for-profits, and it's something that you can deploy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Guys, remember that I said that, we don't want to take so much of our time. So I'll just ask, I think there was another question that I saw, and then let's see. Everybody says, well done, Lady K. This is awesome, very wonderful, Lady K. Insightful session. Lady K, that's a new one. Lady K. Every time I see you, I call you Lady K. Lady K. Okay, someone says, in a high interest environment, how should SMEs compare the cost of leaseback versus traditional debt financing?
Okay, so when you're talking about leaseback, I've given you the example of a sale and leaseback where you're unlocking your assets and trying to get cash out of that asset, as well as normal financing that you get from organizations. It's all about the interest rate. So whether you're getting the cash from a sale and leaseback option or from a term loan or a short-term credit facility, is about what are you deploying that cash into. And for your business to make sense, the return must be higher than the interest rate you're using to service that facility. Remember, yes, it's a sale and lease back, but cash is still being released to you with an attached interest rate. And that interest rate will be competitive. It may not be different from the term loan or the short-term credit you're going to get from an organization. It's just a different kind of funding that still gives you access to your asset, your beautiful car. So it's all about what are you using that cash for and what is the return on that investment to service the cost of the loan. So in this economy, I don't see any difference because cash will still attract interest rates.
Interest rates. Cash will still attract interest rate. Okay, the second question says, would you advise a growing SME to use sale and lease back as a growth strategy or only as a liquidity rescue option? Did you get that question? You want to say that again?
Yes, as a liquidity rescue option, not as a growth strategy. When we talk about growth, we're talking about sustainability. We're thinking long term, we're thinking scalability. What the sale and lease back will do to you is to finance your short-term liquidity gaps. We are talking about scaling, sustainability. You're looking at investments, you're looking at partnerships, you're looking at investors, you're looking at other sophisticated levels of funding, and so there's a major difference. So your sale and lease back can just be short-term funding your liquidity gap, not for scalability or sustainability or growth.
Okay. There's so many questions, guys. There's so many questions. Okay, I think I'm going to take maybe just 2 more, and then I'll call it a morning because it's a lot of questions. You see why there has to be a part 2. There are a lot of questions. Okay, Balafama, please, I hope I got that right. Forgive me if I did not. In a family-owned business, how should a managing director handle financial requests from family members for personal or family projects, while maintaining proper financial controls and separation between business and personal finances?
The person should just abuse me. So, yes, you are the MD CEO of an owner-managed business, and you have pressures from family members. What I've learned, and that's one of the mistakes of those 2 small businesses that ran 17, 18 years ago, was the fact that there was no separation of the business money from my own personal money. If you're going to be a Father Christmas or somebody that has goodwill and you want to, feel good with family members, use your own money, not the business money. And they should know from day one that you will not use the money from your business to fund as gifts or whatever. That should be a personal discipline you have to imbibe. And that's why there must be separation. And even your family members should also know that they can't touch your business money. As your business scales, you're able to pay yourself enough for you to be able to do your goodwill, pay your own salary, and out of your salary, you would use for goodwill, but not your business money. It starts from discipline. I mentioned discipline in one of my slides. So separation, that's a structure. Once you separate, you won't touch your business money, no matter how buoyant it's looking. You won't touch it. And then pay yourself a salary too. Pay yourself something. Out of what you paid yourself, you can now use for family members.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Guys, Doctor, I don't know if I can go with all the questions. Okay.
Maybe you should allow one or 2 people to speak rather than just reading out the questions. What do you think?
Yes. Okay. So I see that some people have their hands raised. Some people have their hands raised. It's gonna be tough. Okay, so it's gonna be tough. Let me see. Fumlola Oyemomi, I'm going to allow you speak. I would allow you speak, guys. This is not our fault. You are the ones taking all the time now. Fumlola, I'd allow you speak. I'm going to unmute you now, and then you can speak, and then I'll mute you back again. Fumlola, are we good? Fumlola, you can unmute your mic. I have unmuted you. Okay.
Okay, good morning.
Oh, great. Morning.
Okay, I just want to say a very, very big thank you to Madam Kennedy, for this very inspiring section and very educative one. We appreciate you, and I would like to have this section again and again and again. Thank you for the free session. May God bless you. I
Thank you.
don't actually have a question. I've keyed into all the slides, and I will definitely give a feedback to Renmoney. I want to say thank you to Renmoney too for this opportunity. I appreciate you.
Thank you so
Lola,
much,
thank
Mila.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Your kind
Thank you so
words.
much for your very kind words. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Guys, if you have other questions, so you know what's gonna happen. We're gonna send the recording to everybody. Okay, we will send the recording to everyone. And then if you have questions, you send in your questions. Like I said, we're most likely going to have a part 2 of this session. Send in all your questions. For those who are not on the WhatsApp group, please do that. Join the community. Ask your questions. And what we'll try to do is to collate all the questions. And in our next session, we would ask the questions. She will just respond on all the questions to speak. We'll send via mail, social media. We'll try our possible best because we know that we cannot cover everything, right? In 1 hour or in 1 hour, 10 minutes or 30 minutes, we can't cover everything here. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. But before we go, I wanted to quickly share with us. I know that Renmoney and we have SME loans, right? And I wanted to quickly share with us a short video of our head of SME speaking to us about the loans that we have and how we can partner with you to fund and grow your business. Okay, so guys, please just give me a second. And
my name is John. I'm currently the head of SME business here at Renmoney. Here at Renmoney, we strive to ensure to give the best loan facilities to individuals that are within the SME ecosystem. And this is where you individuals and corporate entities comes in that are looking for where to get cheaper funds to help push your business to the next level. Our loan ranges from 10.1 million to as high as 300 million, which is our single or bigger limit as of today. Now, our interest rate is within the range of 3.5, which is the minimum, and 4.2%, which is the maximum for our SME loan as of today. So, if you are interested and you really want a place where you can get cheaper funds within 24 or 48 working hours, we are ready to give you the facility that will help take your business to the next level. Do not hesitate to send me a message on my email address, which is jefezokai@renmoney.com. I'll be waiting patiently to start a conversation and help take your business to the next level where you want it to be. Thank you and bye-bye.
all right. So we are ready to partner with you. We are ready to grow your business. We are ready to fund your business. All right. And we are willing. We want to be your go-to partner. All right, guys. I want to say again a very big thank you. A very, very, very big thank you to everyone for joining us today. Kende, thank you so much for joining. We are super grateful and we don't take this for granted. Thank you so much. Everyone else, thank you so much. Please send in your questions. Like I said, we will send you the recording. We will send you the slides. And there will be a part 2, okay? And we will let you know. We will inform you guys, all right? Thank you all, everyone. And please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.